Andy Katz is joining us with the details pertaining to UCLA, and the Bruins have found their new man. Andy, what can you tell us?
Well, according to multiple sources, UCLA will name New Mexico head coach Steve Alford as their next head coach. This is a major coup for the Bruins because they wanted to get a coach with significant name recognition, who plays an up-tempo style, who has recruited well in the West, and that's what Alford has done in resurrecting the New Mexico program, winning the Mountain West Conference multiple years in a row, winning it this season in the regular season and in the postseason tournament. This came as a complete shock, I can tell you, to the New Mexico administration because Alford had just agreed to a new 10-year contract. And so they've been somewhat blindsided by this. But the interim situation at New Mexico is they're going to tab the associate head coach at New Mexico, Craig Neal, as their interim head coach. We'll see if he ends up being the full-time head coach at New Mexico. But Alford will be named the next head coach at UCLA, according to multiple sources. And this has been happening in warp speed. Obviously, UCLA made a major play for Shaka Smart and for Brad Stevens. They turned to Alford, and now the former Indiana legend, former head coach at Iowa, former head coach now in New Mexico, will be the next head coach at UCLA.
And you talked about some of Alford's attributes. What makes him the right fit for the UCLA program specifically?
Well, a number of things. I mean, first of all, you can't judge him on their early departures in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, they did not play well against Harvard in their upset loss to the Crimson. What he did at New Mexico, had not been done there before. As successful as a number of different coaches had been at New Mexico in different spots, whether it was Dave Bliss and whether it was Fran Fraschilla, going back to Norm Ellenberger, Alford was able on a consistent basis to recruit the West Coast and to get players to develop and to become big-time. They did, obviously, recently with Kendall Williams and Tony Snell. But also, UCLA wants a coach, and this is what Dan Guerrero said, so I'm just basically paraphrasing Dan Guerrero, the athletic director of UCLA, that they wanted someone who was going to get the tempo going up and down, which is the way Alford was coaching for the most part at New Mexico, that can, win at a high level. He has done that, obviously, in a situation that was more difficult in the Mountain West Conference. Recruit in the area, and, has basically no skeletons, not that Ben Howland did, but, someone who's not had to deal with NCAA issues or anything like that. So it's a good fit. It's a good name. It certainly is, a great name in the sport of college basketball, and so there's good name recognition for that. And so I think for that purpose, UCLA gets a good match.